grocerychoice.gov.au. It was the website launched yesterday that compares the price of food baskets from major retailers and independents. It was one of the recommendations from the Grocery Price Inquiry. The Retailers and Shopkeepers Association in Queensland here says that this website is political rubbish. The government has spent $14 million of taxpayer money on a site that contains data that is 1 month old. How do you justify that expenditure on a website if the information's old?
Well, this is a snapshot. I think Mr. Driscoll's comment, and Mr. Driscoll's quite a political operator and has quite an agenda that he likes to run. But look, this is a snapshot which helps consumers find the better value groceries in their area. Now, it will be more helpful for some people than others, but to take a few areas, wherever Aldi is operating, they are substantially cheaper. And this provides a guide to people to give them that information. Now, people will make their own decisions based on quality, on convenience and on choice, but this is one of the tools. Now, we've announced several tools over the last couple of days, including unit pricing, which will give people a lot more information when they're at the supermarket, and freeing up of the barriers to entry to get more competition to the Australian grocery market. So one mechanism by itself is not the only government response. This is part of a range of responses that we've put out over the last couple of days.
Well, we're getting back to the website, because $14 million is a lot of money. Why have you chosen to lump major retailers and give them their own special column, and yet independents are all put in the one group?
Well, you could have more details there, but that would increase the cost. And
the cost of the website?
Yes, absolutely.
But wouldn't that be worthwhile if it's giving consumers more choice, more information, so that they can get the cheapest groceries?
Well, what we've tried to do is strike the balance. I mean, what we can't have is every supermarket in the country with every item in the country. But what we've tried to do is strike the balance. And we'll see how it goes over the next couple of months. There were 850,000 hits on the website yesterday. There's obviously a lot of interest. We'll talk to consumers and to the sector about how it can be improved over coming months, which was always our intention, and to refine it as we go. But it is a useful tool for many people.
But even the Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd, we just heard in ABC News at 9 that the website may need some changes following criticisms that it does not have enough information.
Well, I said that on the day we launched it, that we would keep it under monitoring to ensure that it was as useful as it could be. But
do you know what these changes would involve, though?
Well, no, because we'll talk to consumers and the sector as we go and make refinements as we go. But look, the more information you put on the website, the more cost it is to collect. So this is the balance that we've struck.
The website, though, is only 24 hours old, and already an admission from our Prime Minister that changes will be made.
Well, no,
are you a little red-faced about this?
Of course not. I said when I announced the website that we would keep it under monitoring. I think the Prime Minister said something very similar this morning.
Scott Driscoll, going back to the Retailers and Shopkeepers Association, believes the federal government should be prohibiting international companies from entering the market. Is the government going to consider that?
Well, I hadn't heard that, but that's an extraordinary thing to say we should have less competition in the Australian grocery market.
But the rationale for that comment is that perhaps we should be supporting local supermarkets.
Well, competition is how consumers benefit. I find it extraordinary that he would call for the Australian market to have barriers erected to stop other people competing for consumers' dollars.
But at the moment, if you look at Franklin, South African, Aldi is a German company. Then you've got the major retail chains who are joining forces. Surely, if you were supporting locally grown supermarkets, that would already add competition to what is a fairly competitive market.
Well, consumers will make the choice about where they shop. And consumers should be given that right. It's not up to the government to say you shall or shall not shop at an Australian-owned supermarket. It's up to consumers to balance what they want. Aldi has been a competitive force for good in the Australian supermarket industry. They've put competitive pressure on prices. A lot of people love to shop there. Why should I or the government say people should not be allowed to shop at Aldi because they happen to be German-owned when they're creating Australian jobs, employing Australians in their supermarkets?
Family First Senator Steve Fielding welcomes unit pricing, but has told the Australian that he's concerned no start date has been announced. When will unit pricing begin?
Look, we need to work with the industry through this. If we said unit pricing shall begin tomorrow, there would be substantial compliance costs for supermarkets, particularly smaller supermarkets. We need to work through, the government needs to work through with industry, the complexities arranged in unit pricing. We'd like to see it in 12 to 18 months. Some supermarkets will choose to do it sooner than that, which I would welcome. But it is a useful tool for consumers, but it also doesn't come without a cost, which we need to work through.
Thanks very much for your time.
Great, pleasure.
That's Chris Bowen, Assistant Federal Treasurer. He's on the Gold Coast today, addressing the Investment and Financial Services Association's annual conference, 9.